Have you noticed something strange? People say they want purpose. They say they want depth. They say they want a meaningful life. And then they open another app. Not because they are stupid. Not because they are lazy. But because meaning is heavy. And distraction is light. Meaning is not entertainment. Meaning asks questions. Who are you? What are you building? What are you avoiding? What are you capable of becoming? Distraction never asks that. Distraction says, scroll, relax, watch one more time, think about it tomorrow. Meaning forces you to confront your potential, and potential is terrifying, because once you see what you could become, you have to face what you currently are. That gap hurts, so people choose the screen instead. After a long day, your mind is tired. Meaning requires effort. It requires stillness. It requires self-awareness. Distraction requires nothing. It gives dopamine without responsibility, stimulation without growth, noise without accountability. It feels like recovery, but it's not recovery. It's avoidance dressed as rest. You don't feel drained because you worked on your purpose. You feel drained because you never moved toward it. Distraction becomes medicine for a wound it helped create. Meaning builds gradually, skill by skill, habit by habit, decision by decision. You don't wake up transformed. You earn transformation through repetition. Distraction is immediate. One click, one tap, instant stimulation. The modern brain is being trained to prefer speed over depth. Why sit with uncertainty when you can escape it instantly? Why wrestle with a hard idea when you can consume 10 easy ones? The nervous system chooses what feels rewarding now, not what builds something lasting. And that's where most people lose the battle. Meaning requires risk. If you start the business, it might fail. If you write the book, it might be criticized. If you pursue the relationship, you might get rejected. Meaning exposes you. Distraction hides you. As long as you are researching, as long as you are learning, as long as you are planning, you never have to test yourself. And if you never test yourself, you never risk discovering your limits. Distraction keeps your self-image intact. Meaning threatens it. Most people don't avoid effort. They avoid ego damage. The world has engineered the perfect alternative to meaning. Endless feeds, endless opinions, endless updates, endless novelty. You never have to sit in silence. And silence is where meaning begins. When the noise disappears, questions surface. What am I doing with my life? Why am I stuck? What do I actually want? Distraction prevents those questions from ever fully forming. It's not accidental. A distracted mind doesn't demand change. A distracted mind consumes. Here's the part nobody romanticizes. Meaning costs something. It costs comfort. It costs convenience. It costs time. It costs easier alternatives. To build something real, you must say no to many things that feel good. Distraction asks for nothing in return. That's why it's seductive. It doesn't demand discipline. It doesn't demand courage. It doesn't demand commitment. Meaning demands all three. And most people unconsciously choose the path that demands less from them. When distraction becomes daily, identity starts to dissolve. You don't become what you intended to be. You become what you repeatedly consume. Days blur, weeks blur, years blur. Not because something dramatic happened, but because nothing decisive happened. Meaning is built through decisive moments. Distraction eliminates them. And slowly, your life becomes reactive instead of intentional. You respond, you consume, you scroll, but you don't build. The human brain evolved to conserve energy and avoid threat. Meaning feels like both effort and threat. Effort, because it requires sustained focus. Threat, because it exposes uncertainty and possible failure. Distraction signals safety. No judgment, no evaluation, no risk. So the brain chooses the option that feels secure. not the one that builds legacy. That's the silent tragedy. Distraction isn't the opposite of productivity. It's the opposite of courage. Meaning is available. It's always available. But it requires you to close the tabs, to sit in silence, to face the discomfort of beginning. Most people will never do that. They'll choose stimulation over significance, noise over direction, ease over depth. And their lives will reflect that choice. Because in the end, you don't become what you desire. You become what you repeatedly choose. And every time you choose distraction, you delay becoming someone meaningful.